Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam, Doc. How you doing?
Oh, good and grateful. Alhamdulillah. You?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes.
Mhm.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right. I guess we're ready to go, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد عبده ورسوله أما بعد. So this morning we want to change the format up a little bit because I have a limited time. So we're going to skip the sharing in this first part because in 29 minutes I have to get off to get on for the other class, the comprehension class. And of course, those of you who have signed up for that can join in after 7:30 in your Salatul Duha. But today I have to get off at 7. So um, we'll just jump in. Sound good? We good? We together?
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.
Alaikum
Alhamdulillah.
assalam.
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah.
All right.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Sorry, I can't pull the trigger on the unmute fast enough, so just assume I replied. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. I need
Yeah,
permission.
you got it?
Got it now. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is this let me ask you all, is this a good size for you all to see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So uh uh you know, Billahi min shaitan rajim. Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So this is the ayat we've been on, 59:18. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. So to make a contrast again between what we're used to seeing in Yusuf Ali, and for 14 years I read Yusuf Ali before we were blessed to begin to pursue the Arabic language. So this is Yusuf Ali's rendering, O you who believe, fear Allah, and let every soul look to what provision he has sent forth for tomorrow. Yeah, fear Allah, for Allah is well acquainted with all that you do. And this is the reflection students and I came up with. Attention, all those who obeyed willingly and trusted. You are commanded to make God consciousness a protection for yourselves from all the painful suffering. And let a soul think over and contemplate inwardly about whatever it did previously and whatever it prepared for the day of the expected resurrection. And you are commanded to make God consciousness a protection for yourselves from the punishments. Surely Allah is a supreme expert of the precise information of what you did. and Allah speaks the truth, spoken the truth. So today we're going to kind of break down the last phrase, Inna Allaha khabirun bima ta'malun. This one right here at the top. And when we look at the root word khabara, it's not kabara, it's khabara. It's a different word because of the first letter here. And in infinite definition is to know by experience. You know, this is not book knowledge. This is knowledge from experience. And this first word inna in Arabic, there are only three types of words. There's verbs, there's nouns, and there's particles. And the particle functions to make connection between phrases, right? One phrase to the next phrase. You have a particle in between those two. And so inna is a particle, and I want to meet you where you are as best I can. But when you see the word inna in any of her sisters, if you will, what's coming after it is a statement of fact. It's a fact. So what comes after it in this particular phrase is the word Allah. And Allah here is a noun. And it's, a noun is a person, a place, or a thing. And so in this sense, Allah is the noun here is the subject. It's what's being talked about. Allah is what is the subject of what's being talked about in this phrase. And we would say that Allah is always the subject, because everything belongs to him and everything goes back to him. And after that, we have the word khabirun. Allah khabirun. Don't worry about this meme up here. It's just a particular print from where I pulled it from. So khabirun is also a noun, but it's functioning as a predicate. And what the predicate does is it gives you information about the subject. The predicate gives you information about the subject. It doesn't describe it, it gives you information about it. So in this example, like a simple example, I could say that Abdul Malik is a man. So is a man is giving you information about Abdul Malik. So in this case, and often in the grammar of the Quran, and in grammar period, often you have a subject and you have a predicate along with it. They kind of go together. It's like they have a relationship. It's like we see a husband and a wife, and usually when you see the husband, you see the wife, right? Or you see the wife, you see the husband. But sometimes you'll see a predicate and you'll see a subject and there won't be a predicate, right? Sometimes you'll see a predicate, you won't see the subject. And so in those cases, Allah is relying on our intelligence to think through what the words might be. But whatever the words might be, it doesn't give you all the information when one of those is missing. They call this an ellipsis. Okay. And this is where sometimes you see like in Yusuf Ali, where he'll put parentheses in. Well, there might be an ellipsis there. So just a point of grammar. So what is this khabirun? It's an attribute of Allah. So now, Allah is beginning to tell us about who he is, right? Is it be conscious of him, right? And we had the wonderful discussion yesterday about the word nadara, right? To observe, to look, think over beyond just what's on the surface and think deeply. And so this expert here with this tanween is an indefinite noun. So this means that Allah is an expert about anything. Okay, it could be any kind of expertise. And an expert is somebody that has a special skill, that has a particular knowledge in a field that they've mastered. You know, they're a specialist, like a language expert. Or in the military, those of you who've been in the military, you know, a rifleman or a marksman, the expert is a sharpshooter, you know, like a sniper. And we watched this movie on Netflix called The Jackal. And the Jackal was such an expert sharpshooter, he could make shots from 2 miles away, you know, and still hit the target. Just an expert, the best. And then you think about in the culinary field, Master Chef. We like to watch Gordon Ramsay, right? And he's a master. He's an expert at cooking and is teaching other people how to become master chefs. So this Allah as Khabirun, he's an expert. And this this point here, and again, those of you who are joining the comprehension class, we'll get to all of this, but just to make a point, this particular letter, this yeah placed between this position and the other position is this yeah of expansion, I call it amplification, magnification. And the best way that I can give you a picture of what this is saying to us, because every letter, every syllable, every word, every phrase is a miracle. You know, I don't like to say verses. I do say verses because that's the language we use. But the definition for ayat is a miracle. It's signs, it's miracles, and proof and lessons. So this yeah, you remember the story when Moses was on the boat with the wise man Khidr, and a bird came and dipped its beak into the ocean. And the wise man said to Moses that there's knowledge Allah has given me, he hasn't given you. And there's knowledge Allah has given you, he hasn't given me. But both of our knowledge compared to Allah's knowledge is no more than the amount of water that sparrow took out of the ocean. So when we look at that, you know, man was talking about patterns, right? The fitra is the natural patterns. Well, the language is patterns. And when we look at this picture, we go on to check out Sheikh Google. It tells us that there are 310 million square miles of water in the oceans. And you compare that to one drop. So when we look at the word that Allah is El Alimu has that yeah in that same position, then that oceans versus one drop gives us a picture of how vast and how expansive Allah's knowledge is. And this same pattern applies to Ar-Rahim, right? The merciful Redeemer. That's how expansive his mercy is. His mercy abounds. In fact, everything is his mercy if we want to look at it that way. And if we want to look at El-Hakimu, his wisdom is that expansive. El-Azizu has powers that expansive. So here, he's talking about how expansive his expertise is, which again is coming after the second command. It's the same command the second time when he says, Wattaqullah, and be conscious. It's not be conscious when you feel like it. It's an order from God to keep God in our mind. And that consciousness is the protection. It's the only protection for us. You know, came up the other day, folks talking about Shaitan. But again, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. That's the protection, bringing Allah to our consciousness. And so I hope this is clear about this yeah and the expansiveness of Allah as an expert. Yes, this yeah right here, khabirun. So I don't have to be trying to think I'm an expert at anything because Allah is the expert, you know. Now this is something that I got out of one of the dictionaries with Al-Raghib. I don't want to take the time to go so much through all of that, except that when we looked up the words here, that this al-khuburu, and whenever you see the alif lam, yes, it's the, it's the, but it's also the most, the complete, the comprehensive, the perfect expert, the all expert. So this could be defined as the knowledge of everything as the expert. Allah is the one who has the knowledge of everything, every fact that we can know, all the information, all of the details, all of the data, and the characteristics of that communication. Allah is the one. And it could be the knowledge that you get and skill that comes from experience at home as children. You know, everything is stored in the brain that you experienced, that you heard, that you said, that you saw since you were born. It's all stored in the brain. And those experiences from home, he's the expert of any written information or communication, like the contracts that you might have. Allah is the expert of coloring, right? He tells us he's the best colorer of the earth. And certainly Allah is the expert about the trees and the shrubs and the bushes, right? He knows every leaf that falls. And you think of the foliage, right, in the trees. And so we looked up, we found this picture, right? Allah is the best at coloring. I mean, when you look at this, right, what happens to you? Put in the chat. Let's use the chat. Get a little interaction going before we have to get on. When you look at this, what happens in your mind, in your heart? What are you thinking? Put in the chat, please. Stunning, isn't it? The vibrancy, the colors. Yes. I think as Camila says, overwhelming gratitude. Subhanallahi amma yushrikun. Glory to Allah. He is high above what they attribute to him. Yes. Breathtaking. I feel peace and joy and beauty. Yes. Overwhelming gratitude and love. Thank you all for putting this in. Great joy brings tears to my eyes. Yes, stunning. Allah is truly Akbar, expansive, expanding, immense, and meticulous designer. Yes, Allah is the designer of this, and he's the designer of you, and he's the designer of everything. And so when we see this, it automatically makes us think of Allah. It makes us conscious. In this particular ayah, as we're looking at it, looks like the theme really is this God consciousness. So when I was in college, which is a side note, I'll make this. We went to Penn State University in State College, Pennsylvania. That's where I was introduced to Al Islam, and that's where I met Daia. So I had a good run at Penn State. I found myself, Allah chose me for Islam, and I met my wife. She's smiling. We're smiling over here. And we thank Allah for, because I was a mess before that. But this is a picture of the hills. There's a lot of rolling hills in Pennsylvania with trees, with all these trees, right? And this is miles and miles and miles of this kind of a picture. And every time we drive through it, the thought comes to mind, and it would probably come to your mind right now, I would think, right? If all the trees were pen and the oceans were ink, never could you exhaust the words of Allah in the writing. Yeah, I hope y'all can feel that. Put a 1 in the chat if you can feel that. Yes. Y'all have some nice comments, and we appreciate it. Allah. Subhanallah. There's a dhikr. And again, I'm not one to tell you what to do. I can only tell you what I do. But there's a dhikr, Subhanallah wa bihamdihi wa subhanallahi al-azim. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi wa subhanallahi al-azim. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi wa subhanallahi al-azim. And I love this dhikr in the mornings to set my day. And there's the hadith that says that Subhanallah and Alhamdulillah fills all the spaces between the heavens and the earth. So here again, وَقَوْلُهُ ta'ala, and the Most High saying, he said, Wallahu kabirun bima ta'malun. And this is in another ayah. This is Surah Ali Imran, the 3rd surah, and the 153rd ayah. So it's where this phrase is used in a different place in the Quran. And this is alimu bi akbari a'malikum. That is to say, and Allah is an expert about whatever you do, bima ta'malun, and whatever you produce. So sometimes, and this is not all the time, so this is not something that we want to do often, but sometimes you'll see the relationships. If you change the letters in a word, change the position of the letters in a word, you'll see the relationship. Like this word is amala, right? To do. And if you changed it and you went with alama, put the lam in the middle and the meme at the end, then we have knowledge, right? So the knowledge that we get is not just to philosophize and sit around and, right? The alama is for alama. Allah give us knowledge so that we can produce, we can do something. It's not just do anything. We're supposed to be producers. We're supposed to be producing things. And Allah has given us human creativity and has given us skills to master, right? What was it? What was the ayat? The man was talking about be you masters of the book, right? And, loss and fear is the state for humanity throughout all of time. But the exception, you want to be an exceptional human being? The exception is those who amanu, which will go back to the first word, the first behaviors in these verses these ayats we're looking at. Amanu, right? obey and trust Allah. Plus, produce, right? Amanu wa amilu salihat. Salihat is doing good, yes, but you got to be producing something that's useful and reconciling the situation. Plus, وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Mutual cooperation in what is truthful and patient and persevering. So Allah is the knower of all the information of your work, the supreme expert. One of the brothers we were doing the reflection together, you know, he was in the Nation of Islam. So we were talking about, yeah, Allah is the expert. He's like, no, supreme expert. He had to, no, we got to have that word supreme expert in there. And so it is. All right. And then in this ayah, فَيُنَبِّئُكُم بِمَا كُنتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Then he will inform you, right? Inform all of you about what you're producing with your behavior. It's interesting, right? It's like, and we were reflecting on yesterday's discussion, beautiful discussion. We were reflecting about why does Allah use certain words in certain places, right? Because we had the definitions of a nadhara, right? We had basara, nadhara, and ra'a. Why does Allah use nadhara in this particular ayah as opposed to you using one of those other words? Well, because of the depth of the meaning of nadhar, which we did get yesterday. And so this is the last ayah or last phrase of the ayah for this week, and I want to congratulate all of you on making it through this week. Right, this is the first week of our journey, and I've become to see, and sometimes well, first of all, there's formulas in the Quran. These ayahs give us formulas. And I've begun to look at them and see that there's an introduction in the ayah, right? All those who obeyed and trusted, be God conscious, right? And then it looks like the next phrase is like a major point underneath that. Let the soul think over. This is the nazar. Think over and contemplate, right? Inwardly about what it did previously and whatever prepared the day of expected resurrection. And then another major point again, the command again, and you are commanded to make God consciousness. How are you going to do that? And just look at the trees, man. Look at anything in nature, right? Is it read, Iqra, Bismi Rabbika alladhi khalaqa, right? Read the creation. Read with the name of your Rabb who created. So we have this, and then it looks to me like the conclusion of this ayah is that Allah is the supreme expert of the precise information of what you did, what the soul did, what the soul did. So we thank you for this opportunity to share this with you this morning. I want to turn it over to Imam Fahim and transition over. And some of you that will see you there in the other session after you're done here.
So, Doc, just tell everybody what your class is. I know you got to go, but particularly people need to know that the length of it is like an hour and a half. So
Yeah.
they can still just keep the flow going to the class because yours is from 7 to 8:30. Am I correct?
Yeah, yes, sir. Now, what we're going to introduce to the other students, we're going to invite them to join us here in the Halaqa, um, and be with us from 6:30, and then start that session from 7:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
Because this is too valuable. You know, we were blessed to be in Halaqas, different places. This is the best one. I don't think there's anyone like this one. That's just my opinion. I don't know anything. Allah is the one who knows, right? So we're going to invite them um, to join us here before we have the comprehension session. And yeah,
Okay.
I got a question, please.
the
Uh,
session is all about learning how to comprehend the Quran. It's not enough for us to just
Can you
make
hear me?
sounds, right? It's not enough
You
for us to just be making sounds.
just
We gotta
speaking.
comprehend so we get this in us, right?
okay. It's Amar Rasul has a question real quick.
Yes, Ahmed. Ahmed,
You going to another?
it's another
Sound like
link. It's the regular link that
okay,
you've been
okay.
on
Oh,
before. And
so it's the regular Sunday class link.
that you've been in, yes, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Hey,
I just want to know.
would you put the link
Okay.
into this chat so that
Okay,
others can transition quickly or easily?
okay, just let me just a sec.
All right, and I want to let you all know that Zaid and I'm not holding you, Zaid. If you're here, then
Yes,
you hear the announcement as well. That Zaid and we do off days. He do Monday, for example, then I do Tuesday. That's gonna switch up. So every Sunday may not necessarily, and I know particularly the 19th and the 25th. That's certainly not going to be a conflict. Zayd he's going to be the one on both of those days, and he's going to provide a separate link. More information coming later, but there's going to need to be a different link for the 19th to the 25th. And so there will be a new link for that period, 19th to the 25th. And so that means that this issue that's taking place right now, in that he having to leave halfway into the piece that he brings for this halaqa, is because this was his Sunday. This was his Sunday. But in that same spirit and mode, what we're going to do, we're going to continue in the mode that Zaid normally moves in, which is your feedback. But before I open that door, this is not a stage for performance. Okay. It's called sharing. It's sharing. It's like if I put a pie on the table and we're supposed to share the pie, don't eat all the pie. There's a lot of other people that want some pie too. Okay. That's the spirit. So I'm going to put a general rule a guideline. Keep your comments 90 seconds or less. Keep your comments 90 seconds or less. But actually, this time, all the way until we conclude this morning, it's for your input, for your sharing about anything that we've gone over in this class. It doesn't have to be today or yesterday only, but this is an opportunity to share, and your sharing is an influence. It's a mutual influence for everybody. So I'm going to stop talking, and so the floor is open. Keep the guideline of 90 seconds or less in mind, and if you need to be reminded, of course, I will, because I love you. Mic's open.
I just want to say that you know these classes like this, listening to you, brother Imam Shuaib, and listening to Dr. Zaid and what y'all are presenting, it's been inspirational and helpful and mindful for me in as far as promoting more consciousness, and which is, I believe, that is good for us all. So I want to say praise be to Allah and thank you, both of you, for what you do. And I appreciate you. I'm sure others do too very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Brother Mujahid. I just wanted to see, is there a way to the blending of the two? It seems as though right now some of us will be asked to step away from this process at its halfway point to go to the other class. Is there a way for that to be blended a little different than that?
Maybe, but we're not detailing that right now. The other class is a longer class, so you have the opportunity. I failed to get in touch with Ibrahim. I saw Ibrahim online here. This class, this Halaqa, I should say, we're going to get the website straight, the wherewithal on the website. And I don't know if I need to just put it on A Clear Understanding so it can be there right now, make it free. Camila, you have to tell me if that's a possibility. So that you won't miss it. So it's like if you walk away, okay, well then I can go back and get Okay, so that's we want to make sure that it's available.
Yes.
So that is definitely one of my immediates. And Ibrahim, I didn't call you yesterday. We had a wedding yesterday, but inshallah, we'll get connected. Moving on. Thank you so much for the reminder.
Check your email there. Assalamu alaikum, Fahim. Check your email. I sent you an email yesterday morning telling you what we need to do for next steps.
Okay, great. All right, great. So when you hear that sound, that means your 90 seconds is up. So salute to you, Daniel. You did it well. I know that your 600 horsepower mind it was ready to burst out with a lot. So I thank you for your discipline, my dear brother. Alhamdulillah. All right, mic's open.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam, Imam. How you doing?
Good. I just want to comment on, I really appreciate, especially yesterday when you touched on the site, the Apsara, and when you came with the Ra'a, it gave me a different perspective in seeing how to deal with my job, dealing with those minds that is, so programming conditioned just to see life not only through somebody else's eyes, but from a physical perspective. And I appreciate that you brought that to light yesterday.
Let people know what your job is.
I'm the imam at Salinas Valley State Prison, one of the most dangerous and worst prisons in the state of California.
MashaAllah. May Allah protect you. But you got a little experience about knowing that environment. So
most definitely.
You feel good
but
about
it changed tremendously, though.
That right? It's a different kind of beast, huh?
Yes.
All right, mashallah. May Allah continue to guide and protect you. Alhamdulillah. Mic's open.
Assalamu alaikum, brother man.
Alaikum assalam, Zakir.
This goes back again to consciousness and looking at the picture of the beautiful trees. It reminded me growing up in Chicago, and once we were able to get out of the city and go to the areas where the trees were all colorful, it just reminded me this morning of the beauty and the consciousness that we had as children, picking up the leaves and taking them home, and just knowing that, where did this come from? And now looking at consciousness, or I continue on consciousness, that it was such a beautiful experience for me as it is for me this morning. Assalamu
alaikum. Mic's open, so you can just keep flowing.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Hey, Kadir.
When I saw the trees, it reminded me of the image of the earth compared to some of the other planets. And once you get to a point where the Earth is almost like a speck in the cosmos, you're like, wow. And it's just almost mind-numbing how just expansive our creation is and how power the earth holds with the human in it, even being that little compared to the rest of creation.
I love it.
And the thought from yesterday was this nazara, and I haven't looked it up yet, but I presume that that's the word that the Quran uses for the journey that Ibrahim went through with the stars, sun, and the moon in terms of the seeing it and saying, this is not my Lord.
Yeah, in principle for sure, but do your research, do your search.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. That nazara fits into all of that. The theologian, the scholar, the scientist, the architect, all of that would fit into that flow, that sequence, even as a whole. He had to be using nazara in order to get the understanding that came out of it. That's excellent. Those are the intuitive connections. Because as you said, he said, well, I'm not sure, but I think maybe that must be okay. All that right there, that is intuition saying, let's look over here and see if there's something over there, right? And then you do the observation, you do the experimentation, and then you come to the conclusion, oh, this is what it is. So, I mean, this is why, again, we're saying, don't put yourself off. Oh, I'm not a scientist. Yes, you are. You are a scientist. You're just not an expert, let's say. But all of us, and we must be. So yeah, follow up those hints and those observations, and what you do. You say, well, what if, for example, what happened with Abraham is also a case of nazara? What if it was? So right there, then you formed a hypothesis, right? Then you go and do the research to follow up. Is this true? That's what the research based on your hypothesis. Hypothesis is nothing but a question. What if you just started off with what if? What if such and such and so and so? Okay, you just formed a hypothesis. Okay, now you got to decide, how do I go about investigating that? And it's the Arabs who became and who in the history of Muslims that gave us evolved to the golden era, they started exactly where we were. In fact, we started lower than they are. But I'm gonna get away from that. Go ahead. Anybody else? It's open. Everybody, you can just keep flowing. Daniel, you can come back too if you maybe he's going to the class. I don't see it right now.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
So just on the same level as the pictures that Dr. Zaid presented, it made me more conscious of the sunsets that we have experienced, where the sunset has that orange yellow glow. And in that sunset, just in my reflection, it does have a sense of comparison that how Allah has created the nature of having the sunset be a beauty, but also the trees that we saw. So, because when you see the sunset, you have this feeling that everyone was describing and watching and looking at those pictures, that same feeling of the sunset, of those colors. So those colors to me has some significance to the creation. And I guess that's, to me, it brought a calming, very kind of peaceful. That, I think those two words were the peaceful part. And I do want to share the fact that when we were on when we were out of town on the cruise, when it was very significant when the sun was setting, I went on the balcony and there it was, that same color glow. I actually videoed it because it was so much in essence with what we're seeing with those trees. So I just wanted to share that.
And I didn't even tell you that I took a picture, just in case y'all don't know, that's my wife. I took a picture of that sunset when it just happened a couple of days ago. I took a video of it. It's just artistic. The artistry is just wonderful. Anybody else? Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam, Khalida.
I want to thank you and Dr. Zaid. This is like I get excited. I can't wait for this class. And it's like, for me, it's given me a rebirth. Thank you so much.
Alhamdulillah. Well, thank you. May Allah continue to guide and bless you.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Iman.
Alaikum assalam, Tarlina. How you doing?
I look at the sunset and I look at the sunrise, and they're almost the same. It's such beauty. It's just, it takes my breath away every time that happens. But what I start noticing is, and I don't know why I never noticed before, but it's been a few years since I've noticed, but it's like the moon in the middle of the day. It's like you see the moon in the middle of the day when it's a clear day, or even if it's a cloudy day, whatever, but you see the moon right there, and it's so close. And it's just so beautiful. And it's amazing how we have been blessed with so much beauty, natural beauty around us. And the picture behind me, as a matter of fact, that picture that's behind me, that's actually a sunset. And when we were in Africa, on the river, I can't remember the name of the river, but the beauty of the sunset. So it doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah.
And if you're conscious and you're aware, you'll see the beauty of Allah everywhere. We are so very, very blessed to have these gifts every single day that we are conscious that we are breathing, even before we open up our eyes. So this is such a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I am so very grateful for this forum.
Thank you. Here's what Yolanda was talking about. This is the picture out of our window, the bedroom window. You all can see that, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I actually did a video is rendering, but I'm not gonna do it. But that's the gist of it. I mean, what can you say? It's like, man, and that's a sunset, right? There's a saying in what do you call it? Nautical lingo that says, red in the morning, the sailor's warning. Red at night is the sailor's delight, right? So to have this at sunset for a sailor, said, okay, it's going to be a good day and a good time for sailing, because it won't be rough waters. But if you get this in the morning, then that's a warning. So yeah, it's beautiful. Anybody else? Share.
Yes, alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Daya was just telling me that I should show that picture, but I don't know how to do it.
Okay.
Last week when I was on my way back going to Salinas, and it was the sunset was coming in. What Sister Yolanda said, I saw the same thing, and I took a couple pictures of it.
Can you send me the picture? You always send me stuff, so you ought to be able to send me that.
Okay, I'll send it.
Send me that picture, because I just got a picture of someone, so I think I'm setting myself up for a flood of pictures. But I want to go ahead and do it since we can get it, and we have this time and we have this platform.
Yeah, Daya getting ready to send it to you.
Okay.
So anyway, the way it was a bunch of ripples in it. It was orange. So as I was driving, about 5 minutes later, it turned all gray, just like the picture that you just showed. It got orange on the bottom and the gray on the top. And I was just wondering, why did it show orange with a little gray, and then the orange just totally dissipated and it just all turned gray? I'm trying to figure that one out.
Well, see, now that's your scientific hypothesis, or that's your scientific theory. So now you got to work it out. This is from Najima. Najima, you want to speak up to this?
No, well, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Every now and then I wake up and I look out the windows because my cat's gonna look out the windows, and I happen to see the moon, and it's amazing. Like, you know, to be able to see it in the full form, and to be able just to sit there and watch it go down, and it's amazing. It's just amazing.
Alhamdulillah.
I can say it's amazing.
Thank you. So it is happening as we speak. So I'm getting pictures. So y'all go ahead and comment. I'm trying to collect these pictures that I'm receiving and throw them up to share. But comment. The floor is open.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, Aaliyah.
Okay. I was going to say I saw that beautiful moon this morning myself. I had just finished saying Fajr prayer, and I looked up and I was in awe. I said, which of your favors of your Lord you deny? It was absolutely gorgeous, and it was in an area. Normally, I don't see the moon in that position. It was further like toward the kind of northwest. It was fabulous, and it was full and wonderful. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Thank you for taking that picture.
Yeah, so that's not the sun, y'all. That's the moon.
Moon, yes.
Allahu Akbar. I mean, how beautiful is that? Come on. Okay, let me stop this. I got another one that I'm going to share. Yeah, so I'm not labeled. I'm like Lucy in the Chocolate Factory. Some of y'all old enough to remember that. I'm just getting the picture. So, Hanifa, is this you? Who sent me this one?
Yeah, that was me. I sent it. A friend of mine walks every morning. She's a friend of mine. She's a colleague. She's very just mindful of, and so she sometimes sends me pictures. She does this hike up in Berkeley, and she shared that picture. And I think that, this conversation that we're sharing together conceptually just identifies, we all see the same sky, no matter where you are in the world. And so Allah's presence is quite literally everywhere, no matter where I stand, where you stand. And it can also be related to just our lives. No matter where you are in your life, no matter where you are physically, no matter what timeline you're on, condition, etc., we are under the same sky, under the same creation, under the same consciousness, So it's a reminder, right, of your condition and that ability to just be grateful, right? Because it all brings us back together instantly. We're always in the same space, even if we feel like we're in different spaces. So I appreciate the time.
Alhamdulillah, thank you. Got another one coming up here. Alhamdulillah, I think this is Diane Abdul Malik. Comment. I know you've already mentioned something about it, but anything else you want to say since we're looking at it?
I'm just still amazed at how all the pictures show that orange and that gray, and then eventually it just turns gray.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's because the sun is completely set and it's getting dark.
Yeah. When you look at those clouds, it's like you can just feel something deliberate about how they were spread out. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
If you see an artist on a canvas working with oils or something like that, he said, well, let me hit this trowel just a little bit, hit the brush just a little bit. So Allah, alhamdulillah, is most definitely the artist. So those are beautiful shares.
Like Bob Ross.
Well,
It looked almost like some of that work that Bob Ross used to do.
Oh, alhamdulillah. Look, another thing that I thought also is that on other occasions, that Allah tell you the colors that go together. So, it's like Hey, don't put that color with that color, but put this color with that color. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, get you a tie that's like this, and get you a suit, and get you a shirt, and you hook it up. You know, sisters with the scarves and all alike. It's like, yeah, you dress yourself according to the fitr. You know, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Others,
Assalamu alaikum.
alaikum assalam.
So of course, like the picture is always beautiful. I could look at things like that all day. The thing that stood out for me, like in seeing the trees that, moved me to tears is that when he made mention of that Allah knows every leaf, like every leaf. And this idea that I have access to Allah equally like any other individual in creation is amazing to see all of these leaves and know that Allah knows it personally, right? The other thing was when you made your quote about when reading I was the sailor's warning, read in the morning is the sailor's warning, read at night. What was the other part of
Is
it?
the sailor's delight.
Is the sailor's delight. So it's like for me, of course, as a student of Imam, we go with words, and it's like to read, right? And like to read in the morning is an opportunity for us to be aware. Like this warning is not about, fear. Like it's just like aware, like, okay, be aware of what this world that you're entering into as you start this day. Like here, this is a chance for you to gain some awareness as you navigate your day, your life. And then at the end of the day, it's like you made it. Like to read at the end of the day is your delight. Like, okay, we made it through the day, right? And so that's what stuck out for me for that quote. So, alhamdulillah, thank you for the space.
Thank you, alhamdulillah. And here's from Tarlina. Tarlina, you want to tell us what's going on here?
That's actually on the Caribbean Sea.
Okay.
That was while we were on a cruise. That was in December 2023.
Gorgeous.
This sunset?
That's a sunrise.
Sunrise.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
yes. Doing my morning run.
What was this? What was the ship? What
Princess? It's Princess. I can't remember the name of the ship, but it was Princess Cruise Line.
Beautiful. Right, wonderful. All right, alhamdulillah. We thank you all for sharing. We still got about 3 minutes or so. Anybody has any further comments you want to share?
I just want to
did I forget to send somebody's picture up that sent me a picture just in case? I want to make sure everybody gets their opportunity. Go ahead.
I just wanted to share that what we look up when we look up in the sky, all our ancestors has ever lived have seen this. I mean, this is something that was shared by every ancestor, which I feel it makes me have a connection to those of the past. So this is the treasure that God has given to all humans, but especially I'm just thinking for my own ancestors that maybe being African American, you don't know them because of our history. But I mean, it's just wonderful that they have seen this too,
I'm savaging this quote, but the gist of it was when Imam Daniel Kareem and Gloria, I think he was speaking specifically about Sister Gloria's mother when she passed away. She was a major force. Both Darnell and Gloria's parents were prime pioneers, like early pioneers. You think about the early companions of the Prophet, and think in parallel, the early companions of Elijah Muhammad. It was their parents, that is Darnell and Gloria's parents. And when I believe it was her mother, when she passed, Imam says something in the janazah or in memoriam of her. It's like for everyone that passes away, there's a star that is born with their passing, right? And that's just to give us a poetic picture of what we're saying. It's like there is a sign in that, and it's a wonderful thing to know that It's the same sky that everybody has lit, and we live under that same. Mashallah, mashallah. So it's rich. It's rich. All right, y'all. Alhamdulillah. Okay, you got 60 seconds, man.
60 seconds. Okay, yeah. So anyway, just that last picture you
No,
showed.
take your 90, brother. You know I'm always gonna mess with you, man.
That's
Come on.
okay. That's okay. I feel it. It feels good.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so that last picture is we have the rainbow, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, all these colors are colors really coming from the rainbow, but in different hues.
Uh-huh.
In different hues.
Uh-huh.
And I think the deeper meaning behind it is that in the sky, in the creation, is symbolically is you don't have these colors without water.
Allahu Akbar.
And you don't have the beauty of it without light.
Mm-hmm.
So you get it's the light passing through the particles of water that is so fine you can't even see the particles.
Allahu Akbar.
So that's a great deep meaning in that, and we follow Imams. If you follow Imams a language, and I'll say language for cues of culture.
Uh-huh.
Okay, then you're seeing morality, the concept of morality, and also the concept of knowledge when Allah shows you things, when Allah is showing you something. And these gray clouds is not showing the color. It's really just like black and white together. It make it gray. So all that I think has a deeper meaning, but from what I'm reading in it and using Imam Muhammad's language and that fine mist that the sun draws up is like the morality, and then he puts it to us, but in our feedback we are to take it in terms of what is morality. Now I would say well, we have Shams for the sun, and we have also Taqwa for moral conscience. So this is Allah's creation, I believe, speaking to us about morality and being above the material, rising above the material pool.
All righty, man. We gotta go.
Okay, that's it.
All right, thank you. And this, Tarlene, you said this is on the Zambezi. This is on the Zambezi River. This right here.
No, the other I sent you one just now that's on the Zambezi. This is actually on the Caribbean Sea.
Okay, so we'll have to enjoy that artistry when we get the website piece straight. This would definitely be one of those places where, okay, we're going to throw up an album of all the beautiful sunset and the wonders of creation that you can just, go through that and enjoy that. And to have commentary join with it, it's like it becomes museum art gallery quality thing.
Yes.
So
yes.
we can get creative with it, but mashallah, we got to get people to make that happen. All right, alhamdulillah, may Allah continue to guide us, bless us, and protect us.
Inshallah.
Be sure to make your 2 or more. We have all the way up until Zohar prayer time. ACU folks who are online, we will have our session today at what do we say? 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam.
Alaikum assalam.
Have a blessed day, everyone.
Walaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Fahim.
Yes, sir.
Ibrahim. So I sent you an email yesterday that outlined what I needed to
I'm gonna get on
that started. So take a look at that, and then when you get a chance, just holler at me.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.